Hey, what's going on, everybody? A little bit of an update. It's been a little bit slower progress lately, but waiting on parts. Let me get the camera turned around. What I'm working on now is getting the shock mounts lined up, tack welded into place. I'll show you what I got done. Turning out pretty cool, so check it out. All right, so I had these brackets existing from No Limit, from the No Limit kit that I had on here previously on the truck. The truck used to have just a simple C notch before it went to the step notch. So I had to do some trimming. I welded the perimeter of these on, and I'm going to plug weld these old bolt holes to clean that up. So let me zoom out. That's what we're looking at there. Sorry, it's like 10 degrees here where I'm at right now. My shop is 39. Had my torpedo heater going for about 45 minutes now, and it's, I don't know if you can see it up there or not, 39 degrees. So anyway, now the rears, or the lowers, I got this piece of angle with a hole in it. I got everything lined up and tacked, or everything lined up right now, and I'm ready to weld them into place. So it's gonna tack this probably on the corners, and then when I pull the trailing arms out, I'll actually do the final welding. So we'll get that all squared up. These blocks, when I have them out, I'll blow the paint or powder coat off of them, and I'm actually gonna weld them, at least stitch weld them to the Tinworks trailing arm. They'll do the job. They are not, I actually ordered them on Amazon. They'll do the job. And what I mean by that is these welds, they're too tall, and you can see the welds hit before it actually lays level. So I'm gonna clean it up and make sure it sits flush. So that's where we're at right now. We'll get everything welded up in here, and once everything's welded up, I'll give you guys an update and show you what it's like after the mounts and the shocks are mounted. The next step is to get the axle pulled out and get it cleaned up, put it back under, and get, what I mean by cleaned up is take the paint off of it, remove the brake line, and once that's done, I'm going to double check my measurements, my lengths on my trailing arms since they're adjustable, and then I'm going to set the bag mounts, which turn this around, which that's my bag mount, which this will sit on top of the axle and have to get welded. So I want everything cleaned and ready to accept that. So it's going to be important that I have the axle centered left to right, because I don't want these off one way or the other. So that's what we're looking at. I'll give you guys an update here at the end of mounting these and getting these all into place. Thanks for checking out. Stay tuned. All right, so here's the shock update for you guys and for myself, for my future me. I threw a transport wheel on there. These are 22 by 9s. The tires that are on them are 275 40s, which are quite larger than what I'm gonna run, but I wanted just to make sure that, you know, there wasn't any interference down here. So you got the base, we got this tack welded in. What?
Question. Do you want those bolts back in your safe?
You can put them in the safe, yes.
Okay. And can I have it turn on tablet?
Yes. Don't be mean about it.
Okay. Luke said no, I'm not giving it up even if Dad said not.
Okay, well, Well, I'll talk with Luke. Tell him I said so. I love you.
I love you.
Love
Be
you.
careful.
Yep. So anyway, sorry. This is just tack welded. All right. This bolt threads into here. What I did when I did these mounts was I actually took a 1.5 inch annular cutter or annular bit on a mag based drill, and I punched a hole in the face of this. And then the end of this stem, I actually welded a nut to the end of it, the end of this tube. So this bolt actually threads in. The nut actually sets back in here. Okay. So I'm probably gonna have to keep this thing vertical like I want it. Probably gonna have to put a spacer in here, or put 3 or 4 washers. But I'm pleased with that. The other side, I have the tire off so you can see a little bit better of what's going on. These freaking purple blocks are killing me. They need to be black, but anyway. So that's what's going on here. Got that all mounted like so. I will drop them trailing arms and get everything welded up. I'll probably honestly just do a bead across here, one up here, and then one back here. And then, I'm not sure if I'll put one on the back side or not yet, probably, and then grind it smooth just to keep it streamlined. So, let me back out here. This is how the shocks are gonna look, okay? Truck is completely, would be completely aired out right now, so the shocks would be all but bottomed out, and then as we air it up, it'll go up to ride height, which should be about 3-4 inches up from here, I would think, estimate. So the next thing is I'm gonna pull that brake line. I'm gonna double check again and make sure everything's centered. And disconnect everything and pull the axle, or pull the rear end out. So that's what we're looking at. Everything's going as planned. Everything I do, I play it out in my head before I do it, and it should take X amount of time, but it always ends up taking at least twice as long as I have it played out in my head to be. So, all right, guys, not sure if I'll tag the axle or the bag mounts for the rear end into this video or not, or if I'll just upload a short clip of the shocks, but shock mounts. But thanks for checking us out, and we'll see you next time. Peace out. Thanks. Bye. All right, another update. Looks a little messy right now. All right, so I got the bags mounted to the cross member. I got my brakes, or my brake lines, off. The axle's cleaned up on both sides, okay? Got the bag, or axle mount bag plates bolted, but I left them, loose. And the next step is I need to lower that cart back there. We'll bring the frame down. I can bring this up and down. I have the jack under that as well. And once these are seated, then I'll pull some measurements from left to right and make sure that everything is centered. And once I know it's centered, it's as simple as tacking these into spot. Once they're tacked, lower the rear end. Once the rear end's lowered, I can either, at that point, decide to remove it completely and weld these on, for final weld, which we're getting to that point where it does need to get pulled out. But I don't know if I'm ready yet. So nonetheless, next step, I'm gonna lower the bed, drop these saddles down on top, and get her centered up and welded into place. So stay tuned. All right, a little bit of a final update for the day. It's the end of the day on Saturday. What the heck is today? Saturday, February 4th. So what we got done today, we got the shock mounts done. I shouldn't say done. Everything's kind of in there temporarily. It's tack welded. All right, so we got the upper mounts done. We got the lower mounts tack welded in. And then we got the bag mounts on the axle tacked in, which you can see that. You can see that. And then the other shock mount is on this side. All right. And the exciting thing, which I was going to do this in a separate video, but I'll do it in this one. This is a Boyd welding tank. It's an aluminum tank, obviously. I opted for the center fill. And the idea with that is I'm gonna come up through the bed floor. You'll open the tailgate and have a fill right here. I am still running a carb, which the pickup tube goes all the way down to the bottom of the tank, pulls the fuel out of there. So I'll put a swivel 90 on there, okay? If I ever want to switch to EFI, which eventually I will, this is where the fuel pump will drop in. You'll unscrew them, drop it in. This is the vent for the overflow, or not overflow, the flip over. If it was rolled over, it would vent and stop the gas from running out. And this is my sending unit. It's a 90 ohm sending unit that will work with my gauges. So beautiful, beautiful tank. You can see the welds. I mean, it is, for the money you pay for it, it is honestly top of the line. There is baffles in this tank as well, so you get a consistent flow of gas. Swing around here, show you guys the bag mounts up front. There's the bag mounts up front. So from here to the inside of my disc, it's 9.5 inches on both sides. So she is centered. At this point, what I'm waiting on are my parts for the Watts link. And I'm hoping that that will tuck up in here. And once that's done, we can start breaking everything down, tearing it apart. And once it's torn apart, paint it, reassemble it, and then start on the bed and mounting that, and then onto the front. The front, I just received a box from Switch suspension for my hood hinges. And I have chop and block control arms on order, which will narrow the stance 1 inch and move the wheel 1 inch forward. So once the rear's buttoned up, this part of it, I think I probably have 3 weeks yet until I get the control arms from chop and block. So maybe I could have the rear end all but buttoned up. Little things that are going to be annoying are the drive line, which is kind of a major deal, but drive shaft, fuel line should be relatively easy, and brake line shouldn't be too bad. So, all right, that's where we're at right now. Stay tuned for additional updates. Like, subscribe, and follow, and all that good stuff. Or don't. It doesn't really matter to me. It's not like I'm going to make any money. All right, guys. Thanks.